Imagine going into battle and instead of seeing an armed soldier, you see a stampede of growling dogs, elephants, insects, and bears charging you instead. Animals' roles during wars and crises are often overlooked, but during World War I alone, over 16 million animals served, used for either companionship, transport, communication, and in one case, to drop bombs. From snarling bears to armies of cattle charging enemy lines, let's get started. Before we get on with 10 animals that helped in wars, make sure you support us and subscribe to our channel on the bottom right. After that, hit the bell button below and we are good to go. 10. Bears. You wouldn't expect bears to play a major role and may even think that they're the ones causing the crisis, but that's far from the truth. Bears have several appearances in history, but there is one notorious bear that stands out the most. Meet Wojtek, a Syrian brown bear cub that was taken in by a Polish supply company troop who was stationed in Iran. After a childhood of drinking condensed milk out of a vodka bottle and beer, the bear grew to become one of the most loyal and ferocious soldiers the Polish troops had ever seen. Wherever the troops were sent, Wojtek tagged along. He fought in battles in Palestine, Iraq, Egypt, and Italy. Imagine thinking you're going to fight an armed soldier and having a 6-foot-tall and 880-pound heavy growling bear lunging at you. Wojtek eventually became a private soldier with a paybook, rank, and his own serial number. By 1944, he was a corporal in the Polish army. His tasks were wreaking havoc and helping carry crates of ammunition. He was indispensable. 9. Elephants. During the olden days, there was nothing like the words war elephant that could strike fear into soldiers' hearts. Elephants are the largest land mammals in the world, and they could trample, stomp, and flick away hordes of enemies without breaking a sweat. Their tusks alone could gore you to death. During war times, armies would have them wear armor and arm their tusks with iron spikes. Some elephants even had raised fighting platforms to carry archers and javelin to have an advantage over the enemy. India was the first to use elephants in wars in the 4th century BC. Then, in 331 BC, Alexander the Great was shocked into silence the first time he saw the war elephants of the Persian army at the Battle of Gaugamela. His invading army still won the battle, and he took the animals to join his forces. Again, this time in 280 BC, King Pyrrhus of Epirus was given 20 African war elephants for the Battle of Heraclea against the Roman Republic from Ptolemy II, the King of Egypt. To name a few more historic battles where having an elephant on the battlefield changed the tide of the war, there are the Punic Wars, the Second Punic War, the battles where war elephants led by Hannibal Barca attacked the Alps, and the Roman invasion of Britain in 43 AD. Before we continue with an animal who's responsible for delivering a lot of secret messages, please make sure you fully support us and hit the like button. 8. Pigeons. Pigeons have been used during crises and wars since at least the 6th century BC. Back then, Persian King Cyrus started using them to deliver messages to the faraway parts of his empire. Ever since then, many rulers have banked on pigeons' special innate homing ability. Some pigeons can find their way home from over 1,800 miles of distance. The role of pigeons and their irreplaceable importance was never more apparent than during 1870 and 1871. This was during the famous 4-month siege of Paris, where Prussian forces trapped Parisians inside the city. Always one to come up with creative solutions, the French military used to fill hot air balloons with hundreds of caged homing pigeons, where they easily crossed over enemy lines where they would be collected and used to send back messages to the city. Again, in World War I, right before radio was a major thing, the Allies used over 200,000 messenger pigeons. There is actually a famous pigeon by the name of Cher Ami. This wartime pigeon is responsible for delivering 12 messages between forts. Its last message was delivered despite cher ami suffering from bullet injuries. Its efforts saved the lost battalion of the US 77th Infantry Division. 7. Dolphins. It's hard to think of your average adorable bottlenose dolphin who adores humans and is adored back to be a valuable asset during crisis and wartime. But that is the case with the US Navy. Ever since the 1960s, dolphins have been trained by the Navy to carry out marine patrols. When you think about it, it's no wonder. Dolphins are fiercely intelligent, outsmarting nearly all other animals. Apparently, their military aptitude is even higher than ferocious sharks and helpful birds. What makes dolphins fit for military service is their echolocation ability. Dolphins are made to identify objects by emitting high-pitched squeaks and listening in for the echo to mentally map out what they can't see. These trained Navy dolphins sometimes specialize in detecting threats and marine mines. If they pick up on anything strange, they report back to their superior officers and lead them to the object's location. Their role was integral during the Iraq War and the Persian Gulf War, when they helped clear mines in southern Iraq. As if that's not enough, dolphins were also used to help people in crises such as those struggling in the water. 6. Bats. How could bats possibly have a role during wartime? Well, by the end of World War II, the United States figured out that they could use the flying mammal into an agent of chaos capable of dropping bat bombs. The bomb the US made consisted of over 1,000 compartments, each containing a bat, and each bat had a tiny timed incendiary bomb. Right at dawn, if you heard the screech of a bat, then chances are that a bomb is about to be dropped over you. After the bats were released, they would scatter to roost in buildings within a 30 to 60 kilometer radius. Given how much flammable materials were in Japan at the time, these bat bombs could level a city, but they had a lower civilian casualty than normal destructive bombs. The Bat Project wasn't completely ready until 1945, and it was eventually abandoned in favour of the much more destructive atomic bomb. 5. Rats. Rats were a major help during the Second World War. The Allied forces would sabotage German factories in the most unusual method. They would stuff dead rats with explosive charges. They banked on the scenario where if a German factory worker saw a dead rat, he would take it to the boiler fire to dispose of it, which would lead to a massive scale explosion, possibly destroying the entire factory. However, the Nazis were able to intercept the rats, but they never let their guard down when they saw a dead rat in the future, so the plan might have been a success after all. 4. Cattle. Any army with some self-respect would hesitate at seeing 1,000 of stampeding cattle charging at them. In another instance, where an animal had a major role in history, cattle were often used to crush enemy lines. In one particular battle, the Battle of Tondibi in 1591 in West Africa, the Songhai's Empire Army's first defense was releasing a charge of 1,000 cattle, guiding them to charge the Moroccan infantry. Usually, if the enemy didn't have a gun, then this tactic would have meant the battle was over before it started. But unluckily for the Songhai Empire, the Moroccans had an abundance of guns. The cattle were spooked and panicked, and they ran back to the Songhai army. As a result, the army eventually lost the battle, and later on, their entire empire. 2,400 wild cattle were set to stampede a pirate army in 1671. To launch an attack against the Spanish colony of Panama City, Welsh buccaneer Henry Morgan had an army of 1,000 pirates. On the other hand, Panama City only had 1,200 troops and the 2,400 wild cattle they gathered. Unfortunately, the pirates were able to outmaneuver the Panamanian forces and cattle chargers and take them out. 3. Scorpions. Encountering a scorpion is usually an event that invokes a panicked reaction. Now imagine war scorpions, because that was a thing. The Romans learned the hard way how to deal with more war animals. This was in 198 BC when they besieged the Athenians at the city of Hatra near modern-day Iraq. The Athenians had a unique way to block the forces. They would fill clay pots with these stinging scorpions and hurl them at the Romans. The dozens of irritated insects would fall into the Romans' eyes and attack all unprotected parts of their bodies, as written by Herodian of Syria in the 3rd century BC. Before they were noticed, they bit and stung the soldiers. This time the animals changed the tide of the battle, and the Romans, pushed by the diseases and hot climate in Hatra, were forced to give up the siege. 2. Camels. You would think horses had a major role in history, and while they did, camels were just as important. In the deserts, camels were the ones you can count on to faithfully serve as military patrol mounts. Their use spread to the wastelands and mountains all over the world. Their unparalleled endurance in the harshest of environments made them incredibly valuable, even though they couldn't charge as fast as horses. In 853 BC, Arab king Gindibu used 1,000 camels against the Assyrians at the Battle of Qaqaa. Later on, the Sassanid Persians and the Parthians used camels and armed them. The Muslim armies that conquered North Africa, southern Spain, and the Middle East had camel troops. The Europeans would eventually employ camels into their troops in the 18th and 19th centuries. We can trace the usefulness of the camel even to the First World War, where the Allies' forces and the Ottoman forces had camel cavalries in their armies. 1. Dogs. Man's best friend. Of course, dogs have always been irreplaceable. Their courage, unfaltering loyalty, and strength mean that they make for perfect soldiers and fierce opponents on the battlefield. For centuries, large dog breeds have battled, been used as scouts and as defense sentries. From the ancient Egyptians to modern US forces, everyone has employed dogs in their troops. We can actually trace back one of the first accounts of dogs helping during wars to a battle from the early kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor in 600 BC. A pack of war dogs was able to root and kill invaders. When the Romans came around, they bred their own fearsome war dogs from a mastiff-like breed called Molosser. These dogs worked as watchdogs and scouts, but some were trained to fight in formation while wearing armor and spiked collars. That was all for today, guys. Let us know in the comments what you thought of these amazing animals. Which one animal would you never want to encounter on a battlefield? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep creating videos for you. Till the next one.